Hi everybody, it's Miss Kimberly from the Japan Library. I'm here with an easy craft video that you can make at home using supplies that you can find around the house. Today we are making paper snakes or dragons, whichever you prefer. This is used by just making strips of paper that you can cut out of anything. Newspaper, magazines, scrap paper, anything you can find. It's especially great for the little ones who need to work on their motor skills. For those who just really like to cut, it's just cutting strips of paper and gluing it down. So today, this is what I'll show you how to make. Some of my supplies that I have are crayons, a glue stick, and scissors. You need a piece of paper that you can use as a base, and strips of any kind of paper that you have. Again, newspapers, old magazines work great. Things with color. I have scraps of cardstock that I'm no longer using, so I cut that up. Strips of different colored construction paper. This right here are actually strips of old scrapbook paper. And my red and white paper is tissue paper. So that's a fun different texture. You can also take a plain old piece of paper that you have and scribble on it and cut that up. I don't have scrap paper, but I do have an old piece from a craft of a paper plate. And you can just color on this, all different colors, and cut it up. Ribbon also works well. Just be prepared that anything that's a little thicker than paper will need some extra glue. Once you have the papers you'd like, you just cut different strips. Some can be thin, some can be thicker, some can be narrow, and some can be longer. So these are all the supplies I'm going to use. To make your snake or your dragon, I think today I will call mine a dragon, you need to have a line that can help be your guide on where to put the paper. So what I do is either an S or a backwards S or just a fun squiggly shape. And for the head and for the tail, I like to make a triangle or a square. The head or the tail should be a little bit bigger so it stands out from the rest of the snake. And we glue one to each end. This does get to be a sticky craft, so be prepared. And onto the head, you can add eyes. You can draw yours on. All I have at home are crayons, so I'm going to draw mine on. Maybe some little holes for its nose. And you can draw or cut strips of paper to be a tongue or fire if you have a dragon. I have a little shape here that I'm going to use for my tongue. And I'm just going to glue it in. So here's the beginning of our snake. All we have to do now is glue on the different strips of paper. You can do piece by piece if you choose. If that becomes too much or your table is getting too sticky, you can just glue right onto the paper. But keep in mind that some of your pieces are wider, so you will need to put down a lot of glue. And you can trim these as you go. They don't have to be super neat. They don't have to go in any order. I'll use some tissue paper, maybe one of my paper plates. And you don't have to go in order of the S either, the shape that you drew. Now I have the beginning, and maybe here I'll skip down to the end and do some, really whatever you like. You can cut the pieces as you go if you don't want to pre-cut everything. You can cut and glue, cut and glue. And they can overlap a little bit too. Especially around the curves, you might want to overlap. beauty of this project is you can use absolutely anything you can find at home. It's a great way to use up old supplies. I have one here that I mostly finished. So we'll finish this one up. For me, I think it's easier to put the glue on the paper, but it does make your hands very, very sticky. Be careful that your background, if you use something that's the same color, it may blend in. The yellow doesn't show up too well on my snake. And you can leave room in between as well. You don't have to cover up every space. We have a little room down here. And that's all there is to it. An easy, fun craft to use up your supplies and practice some motor skills. You can feel free to decorate your background. You want to add maybe some spots on the tail or scales or draw a picture in the background so you have some scenery, you are free to do so. We'd love to see your pictures, so feel free to send these to us or post them on our social media so we can see how your snakes and dragons came out. Thanks for spending some time making our craft. Have a great day.